Hello, YouTube and the DoorDash driver community. This is Joe, the 50 something Dasher, with a reaction video here to a article that DoorDash just released a couple days ago, Tuesday the 11th, about some upcoming changes, like some announcements, things that they're working on as a result of feedback that they've received from the DoorDash Community Council members, which of course I am currently serving on. Just give you a little bit of idea here. The current group that I'm in a group with United States drivers and Canadians, and there are 7 Americans, including myself, and 7 Canadians. So there's one meeting per month. It's the third Tuesday of each month, and we meet for an hour and a half. And so, anyway, like I said, tonight I was made aware of this article and went to check it out. All you have to do is go to DoorDash.com, scroll down to the bottom of the page, click on Newsroom, and look for the article titled, here's the first screenshot. It's called Listening to Dashers to Make Dashing Even Better. Uh, and I won't read through everything word for word, but I'll show the screenshots here. And so at the top, they just say they're excited to announce some things, and it talks about the council and how gives a little bit of background on the council and how they receive feedback from them and so on and so forth. Um, and on this first screenshot at the top, you see the direct link to this article. It's kind of a little bit disappointed when I was reading through this because, for the most part, like some of this, and I'll kind of break down each of these things here that they talk about in the article, but for the most part, it's things that I thought was already implemented. If I don't know, maybe some of this stuff seems like old news to me, and are they I would hope that a article dated 6/11/2024 would contain like ideas and things that this current council, including myself, was ideas that we currently submitted. But they must also be talking about ideas that they've received from past groups. So I just like a little bit disappointing. And I should also say here that next week is my final meeting, and I'm going to do another video after that last meeting where I kind of give more of a whole review of my whole 6 month experience on the council. And I want to dive in a little bit deeper. I'll probably do that video next week sometime, maybe the week after, we'll see. But anyway, okay, so the very first thing here, post checkout tipping. I think this was around last year, wasn't it? I mean, I'm almost sure this has been around for a while. This isn't something new. I don't remember exactly when it started. I started dashing in mid-December 2022, and it's probably not too long after that when they first started doing the post checkout tipping. So this isn't new, and they quote somebody for, okay, so it's an honor to be part of the council, said Tamara, a DCC member. And then I got the list right here of the current everybody, that's the list of all the names, everybody in our current group. and that's not. We don't have a Tamara in this current group, so um, that's old news. That's from that's not even somebody in this current term. Then this flexibility and choice. Being able to opt out of alcohol orders, being able to, if you want to opt out of shopping orders, opting out of the different types of orders is what they're talking about here. And again, I've got all kinds of notes here that I take during the meetings. I got the list of names. I got a sheet of paper with all of my ideas that I wanted to submit, and I got just a little bit of a notes like for each session, kind of like the main topics of what we talked about each session. And as far as opting out of the different types of orders, I mean that's not in here. Didn't talk about that month two, month three. That's not a topic. That's we didn't talk about that I remember in this current term. So that's that's old news. Um, Dasher safety. Um, and who's the is this? So this Dasher that they're quoting here from Los Angeles, that's not somebody that's in this current group. Earlier this year, we launched Safe Chat. Um, Again, so they're saying earlier this year, so that would have been something that was suggested last year if they stuff that they're talking about implementing earlier this year. Deactivations, we might have hit on that subject maybe in like one of the meetings, maybe. I don't remember. I don't think I have that in my notes if we did. Um, I know, like, for instance, contract violations came up. I remember that. But as far as like specifically talking about like deactivations, I don't remember that. Now, I should say also that, and I'll talk about this more in my final review. Um, it's it's not just the meetings. So if you are selected to the council, if you're a member, whatever, it's not only the meetings where you can like submit ideas. It's also like they have there's like dedicated like methods of contact and people that you contact with DoorDash, and like different ideas that I've had and whatever that I don't bring up in the meetings. I have contacts that I send my ideas directly to this team in email form, and they're supposed to look at those emails or whatever. So it's a combination of the meetings and contacting them, individually. And then this last screenshot here. So the safe and trusted platform. As far as the and I know this has been talked about on YouTube. Other gig tubers have talked about like Dasher accounts where an account is created but somebody else uses the account, like maybe like undocumented immigrants into this country or whatever. They can't like legitimately get a they don't have maybe a driver's license or actual required documentation, so they use somebody else's account. And that's what this is talking about here. And I don't remember talking about that in this current term. And and that part of that paragraph more or less to me just says that they're aware of it, and they're looking for ways to make the process better. And then the last thing, perks and discounts. We've heard feedback from Dashers and about discounts and everything. The only, as far as that type of thing, uh, really the only thing kind of like along those lines that we talked about in one of the meetings was the Dasher Direct accounts, where, and I don't really know, I don't use it. Just about everybody else in the DCC uses it. I think maybe I was one of the only ones that didn't use it. But where you can have your money placed on this account or whatever, and they talked about that, and ways to improve that and make that better, and this and that, all this and this. I've always been fine for the most part just with the weekly pay into my. I just do the direct deposit into my bank account each week, and I'm fine with that. I don't need daily pay or to some specialized account or anything. I just I'm used to, for years at my W-2. I've been working in my W-2 for like 500 years, and I'm used to getting paid every 2 weeks, direct deposit. Well, I can even remember paper checks. But so every week direct deposit in my bank account is perfectly fine because I'm used to every 2 weeks. So, but anyway, yeah, I don't really remember any talk about uh, discounts at businesses, or it might have been something we might have touched on. Somebody brought up in one of the meetings for a few minutes or something along those lines, but I don't really remember. And it's not in any of my notes here. So just anyway. So, kind of like in closing, it was just kind of a little bit disappointing that that nothing more. I don't know, nothing more exciting or anything more specific or something could have been announced in a announcement news post like this. It just seemed to me just very, very general, and a lot of it was ideas that were brought up before this current term. So it kind of would have been nice to see like an article like this with all things that this current DCC team brought up this year and in these 6 months, uh and different changes or whatever. Now I already mentioned next week is my final meeting, and they did say that the last meeting, they said that this last meeting coming up is they're supposed to go over with us some things uh, that they're looking at, kind of like what this news release was supposed to say. But they're gonna go, supposedly next week. They're gonna go over with us some things that from our session that they're looking to be working on or whatever. And hopefully if it's anything that I feel that I maybe can talk about or whatever, I'll try to. But remember, I signed I've talked about this in past videos where I've talked about my experience with the DCC. I did sign a confidentiality agreement, so I'm not supposed to talk about like specifics. But I'm curious to see what they say next week. But anyway, just thought I'd shoot this video with my reaction to this for whatever it's worth. They asked us to, in the last meeting, to rate a scale of 1 to 5, our experience with the council, and I gave it a 4, because I just feel like in the meetings, I thought it was good, and I'll talk about this in my final review, but I'll go into it in more detail. But I just thought there would be more of the council members bringing the ideas, and then the DoorDash team kind of analyzing those ideas. But it kind of it's more kind of seems like this whole experience, it's a lot of it, especially the meetings, is kind of like the opposite. It's kind of like the DoorDash powers that be kind of bringing the ideas to the meetings, and then us council members are kind of taking a look at that and kind of giving our feedback or whatever. It's kind of like the opposite of what I expected. But again, check out my next video that's coming up in a week or two. I'll talk about this, a lot more at that time, when after my last meeting and when this is all said and done and over with. But anyway, that's all I have for now. Thanks for watching, and until next time, as always, be safe out there driving, and we'll catch you at the next video. Thanks again.